Vic, can you type something in the chat? Let's see if I can see the chat, because again, I'm not seeing the chat. Good morning, traders. Welcome to our trading room. And we're going live on YouTube. So to my YouTube viewers, good morning and welcome to the channel. So let's hope we get some nice trades today. Okay, so everybody is in. Let's go. Let's start. So we're going to start. Most of these don't have anything on them because yesterday afternoon we were trying to trade. I think I can see good morning. We were trying to trade the news, so we took them out. Some of the trades you would still be in, like if you were in the euro, we actually put the euro to break even and stayed with it. That's going well. Aussie, we were expecting it to come and break the low first, so that was a sell, but it didn't actually trigger. The Aussie didn't trigger, but it continued to go afterwards, right? Good. So let's go from hi. Yes, good morning to all the YouTube viewers. I hope more of you turn out today than yesterday. I hope you share the link with people and more people will join us. At least share the news that they can join us live on YouTube. So we broke the low. So now the big question comes with this turn, right? If this is a turning point. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through all the majors. We're going to from there, we will probably go through the entire list, but we're going to see if there are trade setups. We will stop, take the trades, put the trades on, and then continue. All right, so let me start with the dollar index. Dollar index, we were expecting yesterday. Remember, I said there's a good chance this one will probably be a flat. It's probably going to come here, come back here, and then go. If that happens and you see it go a little more, no big deal. Just move your stop, stay with the trade. But at some point, if this happens, it comes back here, make a running flat, go back. I think we will get a running flat, so I look at it this way. I look at it, this would come back here. We're going to look at the equivalent of this. Come back this much, make a running flat, go back. Now, the only reason why I think this might also not be a running flat is because this one doesn't have a lot of consolidation. It's a pretty sharp move. And if you get a pretty sharp move like that, you tend to look backwards and see if there's anything you can put with the one that you have already for a possible running flat. And if we decide that this is a running flat, because remember this consolidation, this big consolidation and this consolidation is all inside of this one. So if we decide that is a running flat, this could be the absolute top. And we could be dropping. Right? We have this scenario in a few charts. For example, the Aussie charts has that possibility. So we're going to first take it for this one. Let me put it in the 4 hours for that. We're going to first take it for the short move. And if the short one is perfect, then we can go for the bigger one. Which one would it be? I don't know. It could be either. It could be they come here and they go back up. It could be that they go sideways and go back up. So we're going to look for a number of things here today. First, we look for a reversal, which means we think this could come deeper into this point, then go. Or if it stays sideways here, like if it just makes a flag here, we'll be buying. As of now, there is no trade setup. Yesterday, this was a trade setup for a buy. If you did and you closed it here, you still did great, right? If you are still in the trade, you may want to move your stops or close it here. That's a good idea. And now we wait for the next setup because there's a good chance we're about to turn. You don't have anything. All you have is one candle. That's not a setup. That's not even a buy setup or a sell setup. Silver actually went down quite a lot. At this point here, it could go back up if you're looking at a 4-hour chart. Remember what we said. At this point, it's going to come to about the 270, and then we would start to look for the possibility that it's going to go back up. Well, it did come to about the 270, so I'll take this off. Now, here's the thing interesting with silver. If you look at a bigger time frame, okay, no problem with that, Vic. Yes, we should tell them to join us in YouTube in case we don't happen to go live there. We'll do that tomorrow when we get there. All right. So with this in play, right, there's a good chance this could also retest the low. There's a very good chance you could come here, retest this low, and then go back up. So what we're going to do is any consolidation here will be a sell setup. We will keep selling. If we get a reversal, we'll first take the trade as a possibility of a deeper correction. So if we get a buy setup here I'm on the daily. So if I get a 1-hour buy setup here, I'll take it to the possibility that it's making a daily correction here to drop. or a deeper pullback like this. See this deep pullback, a deeper pullback like that, and then go. And you see all these deep here, these deep pullback here. So every time we get a buy, we'd assume they can go back pretty deep, even if they're coming down. So you go back on the 1 hour now, and then you said, okay, great. Do we have a buy setup? Remember yesterday we were looking for a buy setup, and we didn't get it. So if we get a buy setup today, take this out. I think we'll take the trade. All you need is a flag here. Right now, if I think only in the 15, you'll probably get a little sideways. It's not enough of a flag. But if this is to come back here, if it is kind of like, do this and come here and we see a possible running flat there, we'll put an entry here and we'll go for that trade. I would hate to buy it in this very small one, because on the hourly, that's just about a candle or two, I think, right? And the hourly is just a single candle. So let's wait until we get some kind of a consolidation. You want this to pull back a little, something like this. And then when we get that, we go for this trade. Because if you don't, it can drop. Remember, I warned about that here and I warned about it here. If you don't, it can drop. Right? This was actually a sell setup here, if you're looking at it. Right? So now we're going to wait for the buy setup here. I'll take this off. You can actually put a sell here. If this is a small expanding flat and they drop, you can take the trade. It's going to go down more, but not very far. I think it's much better if we get a buy setup, because we're going to correct this entire thing. That's one. And we can be correcting the entire move that happened now. So let's see. Gold, same thing. The gold was a sell here when they dropped. That was earlier on Friday. This was a sell on the running flat. This was a sell here. Now you'll be looking for a buy setup. And now we're looking for a buy setup. This is a very aggressive buy in the trading room. Something we assume we can take in the trading in our trading room. It's a very aggressive buy. You should be in that trade if you were in the trading with us this morning in the Asian session. Now you have to trade that with a lot of care, because if it is making a correction for downside, we will have to get out for there for at least break even. And the reason we took it is because there's a good chance it could go higher. If you look at it in the 1 hour or the 4 hours, this thing has moved quite a lot without any deep correction. And I mean deep correction like this deep correction. 1 second, let me just, give me 1 second, let me just take this. It's an urgent call. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're back. I just had to take it. So now we're here, and this here is going to be like either go up like this for a deeper correction, or it's going to come back down. I think we're going to make a deeper correction, because if you look at the 4 hours, we haven't had a correction of this entire thing. See this entire thing. So that trade is a very aggressive trade, but it's a good trade. We took it in the trading room. If you're not in that trade now, then how do you trade it? I think you just wait for another flag, because jumping in now would not give you the advantage of break even. Now we will have the advantage of break even. You might not. So it's going to make more flags like this. It's not going to go like a rocket. So it's probably going to go like this, make another one here, go like this. And by then we will get this to break even. So if you take this one, you will probably get a chance at break even should this drop. And I can show you that here. Here's a good example. We took this trade. For those of you who remember, some of you took this trade, closed it, then we took this trade. And it went up there, came back. You close it here or you stay with the trade, and then we took this trade. This trade we closed here. I closed that there just before the news, because news was coming. That's why we closed it. And this one that we took, we closed it here, or you actually close it somewhere here. So this gives you a chance to get out should it drop. And that is what happened in the news. We weren't there for that news. It was 6 p.m. If they repeat the same thing here, we will get out of the trade, but we are in a buy. This buy was taken in the Asian session while we were trading in the Asian session this morning. Let's see what happens to that. Euro. By the way, we follow up with every single trade we take. So if you're following us for this week, you will get to see what happens to the trade. If you're watching this video for the very first time, you may want to go back and look at the previous videos we did yesterday, 2 of them. And you may want to look at every single one you can see for this week, because they're going to be very interesting. So when we took this trade yesterday, when we took the sell yesterday, you remember, we said, watch it when it comes to the low. And you will want to move your stop, because if it should it be a running flat, it's going to go beyond the low. During the news, we were here. So what we did is we put it to break even and stayed with it. The euro and the pound were at break even, and we stayed with it because we assumed they could go lower. The news did not move it. I can tell you, we didn't get tagged in the news. It was a break. It was a non-event, but it kept going, which is good. And if you closed it here, not a big deal. You actually did well. If you didn't close it, you might want to consider closing it here or move your stops very tight. This could still go more. This could still drop, right? It seems like it's trying to drop. This might be a running flat or an expanding flat. Or what I think is likely going to happen is we should get one more up, right? And the down move, pull back, and then drop, that would be a flat. So I'm not going to put this as a running flat simply because this one has a lot of correction in it, but we will keep that in mind that it's possible. This could be the low and we're going up. Right? Always keep that in mind because we are very low in this move that is coming down and a correction is due. So again, the same thing we would do. We would buy this for this move up first, and if we're lucky, we get this move. And if we're not so lucky, we get this, and then we take it out for break even, and then we sell it. Right? So those are the three options. By the way, if you're very, very new to the channel and you haven't seen any of my video before, I'm going to show you something very quick. And for those who have seen my video before, please have some patience. There are three things a chart can do. There are only three things that is ever going to happen. There are three things you need to learn how to trade. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, or it's going to go sideways. Any chart you put, or any chart you look at, those are the only three things that can happen. So your job is to figure out how to get this move, how to get this move, and how to manage this move. Basically, that's your job. Because if you're in a buy and this is going, you're okay. If you're in a sell and this is going, you're okay. You don't have to do anything. But if you're in a buy or a sell and it starts to do this, well, then you become a professional trader. This is not what makes you a professional trader. This is what makes you a professional trader. What do you do with this? And can you identify what's happening at the moment when you're in a trade? I guarantee you 90% of traders cannot. It looks very simple when I draw this, right? It's one move up, one move down, one move up, one move down, or sideways. And it looks very simple. It's not that simple because I can show you in the charts. It's the same thing yesterday, right? We expect this to drop. We took the trade and it came down. It could have actually gone up and we wouldn't have got the trade, or it could have gone sideways and we would have to manage that trade. Let's say tag you. And I'll show you a trade where we were tagged and what you would have done with it. Since I'm on the topic, let me show you that is the pound CAD. So here's one. We were in the buy, and it would have done one of the three things. It would have gone up. Sorry, that no one was expected to happen. Let's go. This could have gone up. It could go down, or it could go sideways. Well, it didn't go. Sorry. Can you mute yourself when you log on in the trading room, please? Because we're on YouTube Live. Thank you. That's my trader, sorry. Yeah. So it could go up, it could go sideways, or it could go down. And this is where you become a pro trader. If you took that trade and you got break even, you're a trader. If you took that trade and you're upside down in that trade right now, you have to learn wave analysis. All my traders who took that trade closed it. By rule, they're supposed to close it. Whether they close it or not is a different thing, but by rule, the way we trade, they're supposed to close that trade. Not only supposed to close that trade, they'll be looking for a sell set up today, because this is an aggressive buy. By the way, this is in the trading room this morning again. This is a very aggressive buy we took here. And I think they probably closed that buy now. If they haven't closed it, they'll be trying to close it right now. The buy was here, the stop was here, and we were expecting it to come back to the top here, maybe even break out, because we think that this may or may not be an expanding flat as well. I don't think it is. I think this is the flat, this is the move down, and we're making a correction to drop, to go down more. But this is not going to drop totally. It's going to go sideways, right? It's going to kind of come like this, and then it's going to come here, make a bigger flat, and then we probably will still go up. So the buy we took here actually is just that if it does this sharp, we take the trade. If it does this, then we close the trade. So that trade, I would consider that trade almost a break-even trade by now. Because with this deep pullback, you don't want to be in that trade, right? It's not going anywhere. That means we'll be looking for a sell setup, and you can take out the buy now. It probably will go a little more for my traders. Sometimes I'm making it a little simple for the YouTube viewers. For my traders, you don't really have to close it exactly now, but you get the point. You know that that's not going to go. You can put a sell entry here. I also don't think it's going to drop. What I think is going to happen is this is going to stay here for a while more. And we might end up with a flat here for upside. Let me show you the bigger picture as to why that is so, because that might create confusion with traders on YouTube. You have to start looking at the daily structure. Now, the daily structure, we think this could be a possible running flat. And if we're right about a running flat, this should go up here, but it doesn't always go in a sharp line, right? Look how this went up. See, that went up to the top, but look at the way it went. So if you were in any trade here, you'll probably have about 6 break-even trade before you actually get one good trade to go. And that means you take the 6 break-even trade. So let's say on the buy here, the first trade was successful for us. The first trade was this one. We made profit. The second trade was a break-even. The third trade was a break-even. And now I'm putting on a 4th trade for a sell. I don't think that one will even tag. I think that one will probably work like this. If it comes here, we will take off this trade, right? If it comes here, we'll take off that trade. We'll let it come down here and then we'll buy again. This will be a bigger flat. If this is the drop, you want that trade, because if it drops, what it means is that this is just part of a bigger correction to form here before it goes down one more. And it can go down one more. Right? There's always a chance that this could drop one more. It will still go back up, but it can drop one more. So that trade is a good sell right now. I'll take this off so not to confuse a lot of you. I'll take all of these off. They're no longer valid. We finished those trades. This one is off because that's a break-even trade. So remember I said, I'll tell you what we do with every single trade. And you'd follow me and you'd see what we do with them, right? So right now we're changing the buy to a sell because it's an active sell. Let's go to the EuroCAD. Why? Well, I'm on it. I just wanted to do EuroCAD. I'll come back to what I was doing. EuroCAD is the same thing. Remember yesterday, I think we did this in the trading, in the live session. When we got tagged on this one, I said, if you have an entry there and you're tagged in that one, we were here. I think we were in this one here. And we're coming down. As I said, as soon as this go back up there, close the trade, put an entry above the top. We had to. We actually had to put the entry above the top because this is not going to go anymore. It is going to consolidate in this range because they pull back pretty deep. See? So now it's consolidating in the range. If you did that, you did excellent. What we're looking for now is a possibility that this could become a bigger correction. Same setup on the EuroCAD and the PoundCAD. I think this is going to be a bigger correction. We're probably going to stay here and then come here and then go. It will still be a buy. Only this time we'll try to buy it here. Can we sell this? I don't like the idea. We'll see. We'll look at the range and then decide if that's a sell. But this here for a buy would be perfect. Now, can it drop one more? Let's go back to the bigger picture and see. Can this actually drop one more? Of course, if you look at it daily, and we did this morning in the Asian session, if we look at the daily structure of this thing, what we're thinking, right? We're looking at 1, 2, and this is the correction, right? Can this actually drop one more here and then do that? Absolutely. So if we get a sell setup, we'll take it. Right now, you're getting a sell setup. We'll take the sell. But if they consolidate here as a bigger flag and then go, this is the trade you're looking for to the top. Make that flat, come down back here, and then go. Right? This is a reversal sign and a really big on the monthly chart. So we're going to come here in the 1 hour. Wait to see what happens here. If you want to sell it, you can put a sell entry right now. Go on to 15, put a sell entry where we'll put a sell. Let's say you decide this is going to drop and you want to sell it. The sell will come under this one. You want it to go up first and then put the sell. You'll put a sell entry here, but you want this to break this top first because I would probably look at it as a running flat like this. I'll make the assumption that we might be making that running flat there, starting from here. And this would break the top and then drop. As long as it stays in this range, it's a sell. If this goes higher into that, we would take off the sell. We'll let it come back here and then we'll buy it, right? So let's keep it like that and see what is going to happen. We'll wait for this trade. So it's a sell. I'll change this to a sell now. And those are short-term sells. Those sells might change again within the next couple hours. Right? That's trading. That's wave analysis. You see the structure. You decide we're short-term traders. We look for the short-term trades and we go for them. So come back to what I was saying. Let's go back to where we were. I think we were in the silver. And we finished the silver. We finished gold. On that buy in the gold. See, it's pulling back, like I said, but don't worry, you don't have to panic. If you don't have to close that right now, you'll have enough time to close it, right? It's going to probably consolidate here and go. And then if that is the case, we will end up with a sell rather than a buy. Euro, wait for it. We don't have anything right now. It could be a sell, but that would be a very, very small trade. Pound, again, we wait for it. Unless we get a flag, we can't buy it because then it's going to drop. But there is no sell setup. Selling here, I don't like the idea. Even if you take that as a 15-minute running flat, that has gone really far. So let's wait for a correction before we sell. Aussie, we broke the low. We don't have a buy setup as yet though. Remember this one, we're going so strong and still drop. So we don't have a buy setup here. When we get a flag, we buy. If it makes a flag here, and I think there's a possibility that could happen. If Aussie makes a flag here, we'll buy it. If it goes higher than make a flag, then that would be a really good trade. In terms of selling this, if we get a flag, we'll sell also. This is just a pullback, but if it makes a flag here, we'll definitely sell this. This could go lower. On the bigger picture, let me show you what it looks like. This is the daily structure. This is what we're looking at. This is the big picture of it. See? This is the first impulse up. And right now we're doing this. We're correcting that impulse. So within that structure, there's this sharp move. And inside of that sharp move, you're getting all these corrections here to this here. So very likely this goes back to the top there, make a flat like this, and then work its way down back to the bottom here and then go. At present now, if you're not a wave analysis trader, you look at that and you say, that definitely looks like some magic going on there. Because, and traders ask me this pretty often, why do you think it's going to go back there and then come back here? How can you even imagine or focus something like that? Like, you know, the charts are random. That's what they learn. Their news event is what moves the chart. So how can you decide? You don't know what news event is going to be. You don't know what, you know, there's so many news that could change everything. There's so many things that could happen. This thing is all random. Why do you think it's going to do something like that? I get that question every time. And when it happens, they come back and say, dude, how did that thing happen like that? Like, really? I mean, like, how do you know it's going to do that? Well, it's not what I know. It's what the chart is showing you. We've seen those patterns like a million times. And they play out every single time. Now, do I get the patterns wrong every now and then? Yeah, that's normal. Because I'm making forecasts. I'm using what I have to forecast what it could possibly do. And the variation of what it could possibly do is numerous. There are numerous variations. So when we're making the forecast, we're looking for the best possible variations that we can get. And then if it does that, and we get the confirmation of that, we take the trade. We're not randomly taking trade, right? We make sure that all the trade setups we see have to have the confirmation of them. If there's no confirmation, we're not in the trade. So we're looking for this to turn. But if we don't get the confirmation that it's turning, we're not going to be in the trade. And if we get a confirmation that it is going to go lower, which means if we get a flag here, we will sell for one more impulse. It makes another flag, we'll sell for one more impulse. It makes another flag, we'll sell for one more impulse. It makes another flag, we'll sell. And we're still expecting that to happen. And this would actually happen. It will happen. That's the main thing. Now, where this stops, we don't know, right? That would have been amazing if we knew where it was stopping. So what we're going to do, and I know traders like to use all kinds of stuff to tell you where they think that is going to stop. Some support, some fibs, some Ichimoku clouds, some moving averages. Well, all of those are BS. Because none of that is going to stop the chart if the chart is still going down, right? If price is still dropping, none of those will stop it. It's not like it's going to hit your moving average and turn, because that is your moving average. It has nothing to do with what the market is doing. Right? It's like you have to give that moving average to all the players in the world and say, hey, when it hit there, let it turn. Not going to happen, right? So we will wait and see for the setups to confirm what we think it's going to do, the patterns we are expecting to happen, and then we're going to trade those. So New Zealand, I think New Zealand was a surprise to me because I didn't think it was going to come. Like, hey, here's a good example where you could get it wrong. We assumed that we were making a running flat. Right? A running flat would look like this, and then we were expecting that to turn. If you didn't see yesterday's webinar, go back and watch it. I said if we get a sell setup, we will sell Aussie. If we get a buy setup, we will buy New Zealand. We had a sell setup. We sold the Aussie. I didn't sell in New Zealand, and I would not sell in New Zealand if I have the same setup tomorrow again, because the running flat was the most likely thing that's happened. It came down lower. So now we're thinking two things. One, is this an expanding flat for upside? If it is an expanding flat for upside, or right now still running flat, sorry, is it going to make an expanding flat? Would it come there and then go? Or is it going to be a bigger running flat that goes from this point? If it is going to do that, what I want to see is an impulse. I want to see a flag, and we're buying. What if it's going to drop lower for an expanding flat? Well, then there's one more flag here that you can sell. Again, I'm going to repeat. I will not sell New Zealand. I will go and sell the Aussie. It's the same thing. It's the same dollar movement. I will sell Euro, I'll sell Pound, I'll sell Aussie. And there's a reason why New Zealand is a higher risk selling, although it's moving the same as Aussie is moving, right? Because the pattern structure is telling us that if this is going to turn to the upside, it could go faster than anything else. So you might not get a chance at break even if you get a chance at break even in the New Zealand dollar. Right? So now what is the bigger picture in this? Let me show you. And we keep going back to the bigger picture because I want you to have a vision of how we look at the charts. So what I expect is we were expecting this to go up as of yesterday. But because this one has pulled back so deep into that flat, even if it goes back here, and I do think it will probably go back there, there's a higher probability now of this making a new low before it goes. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come back to the top there, we come back, retest this low, and then go. This one is going to go. It's absolutely going to go. So the only question is whether we're going to have a new low here before it goes. That's the only question on this, right? Because structurally, that's what we were expecting it to do. And just in case you think that is impossible, wait until you see it happen, right? So we're expecting this to do. I think this would probably go out. We might likely break out of this structure here. I'm not sure whether we'll tag that up or not, because this is the sharp one. I'm not expecting that. This would be more like a 1, 2, 3 in here, come back down like this here, and then we're going to get a sharp one. So we'll be going sideways here for a very long time. Literally, we wouldn't be going anywhere more. So the only thing we have to find is when that up move starts. Now for the sell setup in the New Zealand, we'll ignore it. We'll buy, we'll sell the Aussie. Any buy setup here we'll take. Yen, if you took the buy, you got break even. And I hope you took the break even because like I said, very likely it's going to be a break even. And if you want, you can put an entry order there. We're probably going to get one more up. This looks like a very nice little running flat there for me. And that means it probably will go one more up. So there's a buy setup here again. You'll probably get break even again, right? But you can take the trade. So there's a buy setup in the end. We can put a buy here and we'll tell you what to do with it as we go. Swiss, actually, we were expecting this to go up there and then drop. It didn't drop. It's kind of going sideways. See, it's kind of going sideways. So now I'm thinking this is making a running flat here. And I think we can already agree that this might be the running flat. That could be the running flat. 1, 2, 3, and this could go up one more. Once that go up a little more, it's not a buy setup. Just like the New Zealand, this is not a buy setup. If it goes, it has to go break this top and then come back here. This is the trade we'll be looking for. Come here, give us a flag, and then we're going for this trade. That will complete this flat and then go up more. All right, so what's the big picture in this? Let's go to daily. Remind you what the big picture is. This is the big picture, right? And we're expecting it to come here. But we're also expecting that somewhere along this point here, it will start to make a deeper correction before that happens. So this is not the one that is going to go there. This one will come back here. And just in case you're guessing, why the hell do you think it's going to correct from that point? This arrow, finally, I realized where I got that arrow from. It's from the previous move up. This one here is from this move up. See that move up there? Then they correct, and then they finish the move. So if we're going to do the same thing, after a move like that, you can make the assumption that there's a possibility, not exactly now, but there's a possibility that somewhere along here, it starts to make a deeper correction here before you go to the top. And they always make corrections. Always. So we can make an assumption that if this is the size of the move they normally do and then start making corrections, then that's a move like that and then make corrections, then yes, they'll probably expect corrections here before we go. So if we're going to look for a buy or a sell setup, we have to keep that in mind. That if we're buying, it will start to correct very soon. If we're selling, then that's an advantage. So we can let this do what it has to do, go to the top there, look for a sell setup, sell it to the bottom here, especially if they break the top, we're going to definitely go back up. If we're wrong about that and they keep dropping, we stay with it. That means a deeper correction has started. So Right now, this one, it looks like a running flat. I'm not sure it is a running flat, but it does look like a running flat. If I'm wrong about it being a running flat, then what is going to happen is this one is going to break through and then start to make a flag. See that flag there? We actually sold that. So if we get a flag here, we're going to sell it. I'm telling you that now, that if we get a flag, we will sell it. You will be here to see if we did it. If we do it, then we'll tell you where we think it's going and how we're going to manage that trade. And that's the power of wave analysis. The power of it is the knowledge of what the chart is likely to do. And if it does that, you take the trade. If it doesn't do that, you reassess it. You look at the patterns again. You said, well, okay, where did I get that pattern wrong? The forecast on that pattern didn't go how I expected. Well, what is the next possible thing? And when you see what the next possible thing, you wait for the confirmation again and you take the trade. It's that simple. And it works every time. Okay. This one, I think we probably should have bought it, but I wouldn't buy it again if I have the same opportunity tomorrow. Because remember, I told you it's going to go break the top. But because we're in this move here and all the consolidation is here, it might not go very far before it actually comes back and break the low. Well, it went very far. It actually broke the top. So what does that mean? That means, remember I showed you the bigger structure. If you were not here, go back and watch the previous one. Like I said, as we go on every day, you want to go back and watch the previous ones, what I told you, what we did, how we look at the structure, how it changed, right? Because when I'm saying it now, it's not relevant to you. It will be relevant to you tomorrow. Because I would show you what pattern I expect to happen. And it doesn't make any sense to you right now. You'll have to wait tomorrow or the day after to say, okay, yeah, now I see why you were saying that. Now it makes sense. So it went and it broke the top. And if you remember when I was showing you this pattern, I told you there are two things likely to happen. This would likely, if this stays here and drop, we're coming to retest the low. But if it goes back to the top of this move, and not necessarily break the top, but goes back to the top of the move, it's going to come down here and then we're going to totally go up. So one thing happened from what we were expecting, right? It went back to the top. It went back to the top of this move. It didn't stay in this lower level, right? If it had stayed here, that would be a sell to this one. So this is already out. As of now, that is out. So what's the next forecast? The next forecast, go back to the top, come back here, confirm a flat for us, come back to this level, confirm a flat. It doesn't necessarily have to be from here. It could be from here. It could be from here. It could be from here. And you were saying, well, how do you know where it's going to be from? You don't have to know that. What you have to know is that it's going to make a running flat. And the running flat could be extended. What does that mean? That means if it starts to drop, we will sell. If it consolidates here, we will buy. We'll buy that, one impulse, consolidate, one impulse, consolidate, one impulse. Any sell setup we get at any given time, we will take it for this move down. You will eventually get this one, and then that will be total upside. I really don't have to go back in the charts and show you some of those running flats, right? Because you've just seen about 5 of them only today. If you miss them, go back, watch the way we're recording again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wait for this to tell us if it's making a flag for continuation or if it's going to come down to the bottom here. You should not do anything right now until you get a confirmation of one side or the other, right? If we get a flag like this here, we will buy it today. Yesterday we didn't, today we'll buy it. Because now we're above this top, that means it's going to be an extended running flat. Euros, so wait for flag buy or reversal, it doesn't matter. We don't really have a trade. Euros was a buy. If you remember, that trade was there yesterday. I don't know if they consolidated, put an entry there, buy it. That went well. And the reason for that was I showed you this. Again, you might not remember, or you might be watching today for the first time. Go back and watch yesterday's recording. Now, if this go, we're expecting it to come here. This arrow was before it broke out. Now, let's see where it goes. It doesn't necessarily have to go there, but if it goes there, you should be in the trade. So what that means, if it makes a flag, you buy. If it makes a correction, you buy. Can it still come back to the bottom here? It can. We're thinking, I mean, one of my traders showed me that there's a possibility we might have a running flat here. And I'm thinking, yeah, that is possible. You could make an argument for that because this one is a contracting flat and all contracting flats can be running flats, right? All contracting flats can be a running flat in the future. So if this is going to be a running flat, what is going to happen? It's going to stop here. It's going to come back here. It's going to make a flag. 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 And then it's going to get to this bottom, or it's just going to drop to the bottom. When it breaks this low, if we see divergence, we're still going up. It can still go lower and then still go back up because it still will go back up. If it stays here and make a flag, if you're in that trade, all you have to do right now is get the trade to break even and wait to see what happens here. If it makes a flag here, all of us buy. We all buy if it makes a flag. If this goes a little more, you wait for the flag before you buy. Right? Those who are in this trade, they're good. Actually, some traders took it from here, which is the best place to take it from. So we'll see. I'll take this off. We're not going with a running flat as yet. Let's get confirmation of that, and then we'll change the pattern. For now, we'll leave it as a contracting flat. We would leave this one here. I think smaller running flat or contracting flat. I'm not sure which is it. If you break this low, then it's a smaller running flat. If it didn't, it's a contracting flat. So we'll see to that. Let's go. So this is a buy setup that is already active. Wait for flags, buy again. Euro New Zealand, same thing, the same trade I had. This one wasn't here, it was actually here. But my traders would have moved it down lower. And the same thing we told you here in this one, that this could probably go more. We're looking at the possibility of this as a running flat, right? There are two options here, but if we go through all the options that are possible, it will be too long a webinar. So we're looking for more buys to the upside. If it keeps getting more buys, we'll wait for flags, we'll buy. If you're not in the trade. Euro yen. Yep, like magic. Told you this one is going to come back, it came back. So guess what? It's going to go back up. Now we have two options of how this whole thing is going to develop. One is we'll expect to go there, come back here and go back and then drop. That's one option. The second option is that, well, it goes to the top here and it drops. We're not going to get a second up again. That is irrelevant to trading. It's just for an analytical purpose, but it's irrelevant to trading. What is relevant to trading is if we get a flag here, we start buying this move. So this sell wasn't bad, this buy wasn't bad, let's get this one. If we can get that, great. So take all of these. So that would have been a sell. I don't think we sold it, but that was where a sell should have been if you were trading there 5 a.m. my time. We were just discussing where the trade would have been in the trading room this morning, but the buy was the must. We actually took the buy. So what we're going to do now here is wait for a reversal. We don't have a reversal. And that means that this could still drop. This here could still drop one more and then make a flag and drop one more, make a flag and drop one more and then go. We're waiting for that. We'll see. As soon as we get that turning, we'll take the trade. So we're looking for a reversal. I look for a buy setup. There is no buy setup. We're just putting it to remind us that we're looking for a buy setup, not the sell. EuroCAD, I think we did this already, and it's going to go slowly. Just give it time to go. We'll get a big flat, we'll buy. I think most likely it will be a buy. You can put this sell here, but as soon as it gets to the top here, we'll take that off. Euro Swiss. It dropped and you're actually making a flat here. We're literally making a flat there, and it's a weird flat. Let's see where this should go. Yep, this might be what we thought it was. That is this. It means we're coming back down, and we can look at it two ways. We can make the assumption that this is a complete correction, this is going to drop, or we can make the assumption that this is going to stay here. Come, stay here, come, maybe do something like this, come here. Go back up to the top and then drop. Because this was really sharp. This one came down in a 1, 2, 3. This one go up in a 1, 2, 3. See that? This was the biggest flat. So there's a good chance that you're going to make a 2 somewhere here as a 1, 2, 3. Go back up as a sharp move like that, finish this structure and then drop. Well, let's go see if that is so. On the 1 hour, it's just going sideways. Can we sell it? I hate to sell in side patterns like these because I don't think this one is going to drop through the bottom. And I could be wrong about that. So what I'll have to do is weigh the risk to reward. What is the risk? If I put an entry over here, where should I put my stop? So if I put an entry over here, my stop has to be above this stop here or above this stop. That's the risk. What's the reward? The reward is it's going to come here. And it is only valid if I think it's going to make a single drop to that. Then I have a good risk to reward trade. But if it's going to come here and do this, and then it's useless. And I think it's actually going to do that. So the trade, although there's a trade setup, for me, it's not a trade I want to take. So I'll just ignore it. I'll go to the next trade. I want to find a euro pair that has a sell, but that is going to drop faster. And go with that one. And that one might be euro pound. If this drop, it could drop really fast because the move we were expecting down should be something like this. See, very sharp. Not a lot of correction in it. So if I'm expecting a move down from here, and I think this one is going to drop from here, then the move should be like this, really sharp, really sharp. So this should be really sharp. Then the sell becomes good. If this actually works its way back to the top and break this top, we're going to put this as a running flat. Right, that would be a running flat here, and then we will sell it from here coming down. Same thing, 1, 2, 3. Go back up and then drop. Well, let's see which one it is. We're right in the middle of nowhere there. It's a 15-minute chart. Yesterday, I explained this chart to you. Go back and watch it again. This is your learning moment. I told you that this is going to come here. We had the entry here, and I said, don't put it close to this because this is going to do this, and it could end up coming here before it goes back up. Well, it didn't come so low, so good for you. It didn't come that low. It made this, and now we're breaking this top. So when we break that top, here's how we're going to look at it. See these two sharp waves there? These three sharp waves, actually. So we're making this one right now. There's a very good chance that this actually comes down back like this. This thing breaks this top here and come back really sharp like this, only to go back up as a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then drop. But now we can actually use either this or this as the entry point. Better yet, when it breaks the top, if we get a flag, we sell it. Right? So if it comes to the top here, reverse makes a flag here, we will sell that flag for this drop. If it starts to turn, we close it. If it keeps dropping, we stay with it. Because I'm not sure that this would do anything. This could be part of this one as well. But most likely it will be the one we're looking at. So we'll see what that trade does. That's a sell setup. Pangos. We were looking for a sell yesterday in Pangos, and it turned out that it make a flag. So if it makes this flag, you put an entry here and you go for that buy. Right, the reason we were looking for a sell, we were hoping this would drop, make a flag, and then go, is because we were expecting this to be a running flat. Well, it's not a running flat as of now. Well, it could still be, but right now I think it's less likely going to be a running flat. And that means this is upside. Where would this take us? In the big picture, you would look at this. It's the first pullback like this. So maybe we're going to get if this keeps going up, we're going to get a 1, 2, 3 like this. See the same pattern here, 1, 2, 3. So if this keeps going up, you're probably going to get something like this. Come back here and then go. If we get more buy setups, we'll take it. We know Euro also looks upside. So if we get more buy setups here, we'll take it. Go to the 1 hour. Wait and see if we get it. It could still be a running flat and they drop from here, right? So if you're in the buy, you just move it to break even and monitor the way this is what is happening at the top here. Because if that turned out to be a flag, if this turned out to be a flag here, then we will buy. If it comes anywhere closer here and make a flag for the sell, we will sell it. We will still go with the possibility of a running flat here. So we just have to wait to see which one. We get a consolidation or we get a drop on a flag. I'll take it off because the direction is a buy already. So that trade is finished. Pangyan? I don't know how many of you took the sell. This one actually didn't go back up, but this was the sell. From here, we thought if you were there and you kept it when this pulled back and dropped, you put it to break even, you did well. Right? Because remember we said this came back pretty high. So there is a chance it could go there and then drop. But if you're in the trade and it keeps dropping, you just stay with it. Right? All you have to do is put it to break even because that is not a lot to give up. Put it to break even and see if it comes. That turned out to just be a big, deep correction before they drop. So the drop is from here. We can still get sells. If it makes flag, you still go for sells. Take that off. So if you were in the sell and you put it to break even, if you close it, you put an entry order under the low, you should be at. You see, I don't have the entry order because we didn't close it. But if you had closed it, if for whatever reason you close this at break even, you would have to have an entry order here. By rule, right? My trade is not a rule. You have to be in that trade again going. It's going good and we're expecting a move down. We're pretty much at the bottom. Don't try to sell it here now. Not until you have a really, really good flag. It could come deeper. We don't know how deep it's going to go. But you really need, now if you're going to sell, you need a good flag like this before you sell. Because that's the turning point from where it can go right back up. See? That's the point from where it can go right back up. So if we get a flag, we can change the trend line slightly to go with like this. And we'll look at this piece here. So let's see. It's a sell and it's probably will go lower. I don't think we have any sell setup unless we get a flag. Let it give us another flag or a correction here, and then we'll sell. So wait for a flag to sell. I'll put it like that. Wait for a flag to sell. Pound Swiss came down. It actually went up, not as high as I would like it to go. They stopped here, and that is okay. That's a running flat. And then it came down. It came down to this point, and it looks like they might be starting that upside. See, that might be starting the upside. If it's starting the upside, can we buy it? Well, let's see. Let's go back to what we were thinking. Yeah, why not? I think we can buy it. We just need this to go up a little more, make a flag, and then we're going for this trade. It might end up making a flat like this, not just a flag. Okay, so let's go back to the 1 hour. Let this go up some more and make a flag, and then we look for a buy setup. Because it can still drop one more. We don't want to sell anymore. We're looking for the buy. Pound New Zealand. So Pound New Zealand, the first trade for the buy was actually this entry. If you were in the room with us when it came back here, I said you need to close that when it come back here and put the entry above the top. If you were not in the trade, you would have put this entry above the top. And then it came back again here, so which means you would still close the trade. If you didn't close it here, you closed it here. And now it's going down. When it goes down like that, you take both of these off. Both of that should come off. You should not keep them when it's dropping like this. But when you see this, after it dropped, right? You see 1, you see 2, and you see a possibility for 3. What you can do is come here, because this is a big move. I think that's about 60-something pips. Yeah, that's about 76 pips. What you can do is come here and wait for a flag. This would be your flag, and this would be your stop, and that would be your trade. This is another flag. I probably wouldn't have bought that flag because it's just above the top. Normally, if you get a flag above the top, you can take it. If you take this one, you closed it. If you take this one, you can move the stop to here. Right? And if this stays here too long and looks like it's going to drop, you close it as well, put an entry above the top. That's an option. Right? Now, where do I think this is going to go? The depth of this pullback now made it more likely to go down one more. Right? If this wasn't that deep, then we would definitely be going up. Because that is so deep. Normally, when you get such a deep pullback, it turns out it's more of a flat for downside. Most likely, most times, that's what you're going to get. Now, if it makes a flag here, we'll keep buying. Because if this keeps going up with flags like that, that changes everything, right? So it all depends on what happens at the top there. Do they reverse, which means drop some more, or is it going to go back up? In the big picture, do we expect that to go back up? This is the big picture. Not necessary. See? This is the big one. Not necessarily this is going to go back up. Once you break that up, there's a good chance this could come back all the way to the bottom. This is the pattern you're looking at. See? This was a big flat. This was a big flat. See that? And this is absolutely flat. This is your impulse. This is what you call a flat. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to drop right now to the bottom here. That means we can stay in here for the next 2-3 years and then drop. Maybe even more than that. But it will eventually drop. So come back to the top there now. Go back on the 1 hour. And if we get a sell set up to keep going down, we will sell. So what would be the sell? Well, you can trade this 2 ways. You can decide to put an entry here, which means it's about 100 pips. That's not a good idea. Wait for this to drop, make a flag, and sell. So you go into 15, you wait for it to drop. If it drops, make a flag, we sell. If it makes another correction here, if this turns out to be another correction like this, we'll buy. Drop, make a flag, you sell it for downside. So let's see which one we get. We have to wait on that. Both sides possible. Take this out. That buy is gone. Pumpkin. Definitely a sell setup. So I don't know how many you remember. We actually bought this. I think it was yesterday or this morning. We bought that in the trading room this morning. Sorry, and we closed it. We bought it, we closed it, and we put it here. Closed it for positive, and we put an entry at the first sell. The idea of buying that was to see whether this was going to do that. It didn't do that. It actually pulled back and go there. And we're like, okay, close that trade. Because this is a flat now, and that means this is going to drop. So yesterday we were buying the pound CAD here, which you closed. Again, you should have closed that trade by rule. And if you didn't, well, then you need to come back and learn the wave analysis rules. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this. If this drop now, we can retest that low. This might just be a deep pullback because there's a lot of consolidation in it, or a future running flat, or a future flat even, right? Now, if it doesn't do that, instead it goes back to the top, which means if this works its way to the top back like this, same like the Euro CAD, and it pulls here, we're going to be buying this. Just like this one, we're buying this and we're buying this one to the upside. So as of now, you can put a sell set up here. That's a perfect sell. If that doesn't get tagged and they go up higher, we'll pull the sell this afternoon. You'll see how we do it, basically. Aussie Swiss. Okay, still a sell setup. That is pulling back, but that's still a sell setup. So we'll probably make a flat here now. With this pullback here, they'll probably make a flat, and then we'll sell that. Let's get this. Here is a good example of what you could look for, and then we'll sell, right? See when this one actually dropped, what happened? It dropped, it made a flag here, it made a flag here, flag here, flag here. So we haven't had any of those big flags. We're making a big flag. It doesn't have to be a very big one. It could be something like this. And that would be enough for this to sell. I still think it's a sell, so we just wait for that. Aussie yen works like magic. There's some more downside to it. I think this one is going to make a flag, come here, and then we'll be looking for that buy. And then we'll still come down back. We'll come down back like this one here. Because we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, and then yes, we'll probably go back up at the top again. Make a new high. But first we have to complete this pattern. So if we get a flag here, there's a short trade to go in, very small trade. If we don't, then let them come here and turn. We'll buy it. Aussie CAD. Okay, so this one we think would go there. It's a deep pullback. It still could go, but it's a deep pullback. I don't like when they do a deep pullback. Well, unless we're looking at this incorrectly and this one is the running flat. What if we're looking and we're missing this running flat here first? What if that's the running flat first? So if that's the first running flat, then we have a lot of running flats in the future to come, right? Because this one is very sharp. This one is super sharp. This one is relatively sharp. This came down nice. So if this is the first running flat and we come and we break the low here, then we'd have to go back up, come down back, go back up, come down back. So we'll be in something like this eventually. If that's the first running flat, any flag here, we're selling. So let me take this off now. Let's make the assumption that that small one is the first, is the core correction. And if that is a core correction, we literally will be looking for sell setups to the downside from here. An equivalent of this, not necessarily that much, but similar to is possible. So you can literally see this come here first. And then all the move starts from there, up and down. It could be shorter. I think most likely it will be. So going to 1 hour, any flag we sell, right? That is possible. Could be that that is a running flag because there's a lot of correction in here. Here's what we look for. If this goes back to the top here, let it come here and then we buy this to the upside and we change the pattern again, right? If that doesn't happen and we make a flag here, we're selling this for sure, right? And I mean a small flag. I don't mean as big as this one. I mean a small one like this. If we get a small flag that we're selling. So let's see which one we get. Wait for a flag, sell. Aussie, New Zealand. Okay, it hasn't turned as yet, but I'm not selling here. I'm waiting for that one. If I have to sell an Aussie pair, I sell Aussie CAD. I'll sell Aussie yen. Right? Those two possible. I'll ignore the Aussie New Zealand. If we get buy setups, I'm in the Aussie New Zealand for sure. And then maybe any other one, we'll look at it. New Zealand CAD. Okay, we still think this could go more. Let me see what it looks like under 15. That's a deep pullback. We had a deep pullback here and a deep pullback here. That's normal. We don't have a trade setup. You can leave the entry there, but that's useless. You want this to do this, make a flag and then go with that. Or you want it to do this, come back here and then go. That would be a perfect buy setup. So we wait. What if it actually makes a flag here? What if instead of going up, we get a flag here? Then we'll have to consider whether we want to sell. And if we want to sell, that means going back to the big picture and doing all the analysis I showed you previously, right? You have to do all of that to decide whether it's a sell. I'll skip it for now because it's too much analysis. We wouldn't probably get trades. That sell setup was great. Let's see if we get another sell setup. Remember yesterday, the first trade, the very first trade was here, right under this low. And then we closed it in this one and we put the entry under that because this was consolidating. And then it dropped. Well, I actually messed that up for myself because instead of putting a sell order here, I ended up putting a buy order. And I tagged, and when it came here, I realized I'm upside down, so I had to close it and I couldn't get back in the trade because my day trading was over. So I'm not in this one. I hope you guys got it correct. Right? When I do things when I'm in the webinar, that happened because I did it in the webinar when I changed it. And instead of doing the sell order, I put the buy order. I have no idea why that happened, but it happened. I realized it really quick though, which was good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to watch for this to come back all here. If we get a correction, and I think we will get corrections, that would work. We are expecting a deep correction here like this when it comes to the bottom. But for now, smaller corrections are possible. See these small flags in here? See this one? This was a sell. This was a sell. This was a sell. So we need this to be something like this. And then we're going to sell this. We're going to sell this and come here. And then we look for the upside. So let's see. Wait for a sell setup. But wait for a sell setup. New Zealand Swiss. What's the big picture here? Upside. This had a lot of pullback, deep pullback, see? So that pullback is not a big deal. Wait for consolidation or flat or something and then go with the trade. Yeah, we have to wait for it to make some kind of a flat. This is the first piece of a possible flat. That's what it'll probably be here, do this, come back here. And if we get this, that's a perfect buy. So we wait. Got it. That sell was good. If you took that sell, you should still be in the trade, right? So the idea of that sell is that we still have the possibility of this being an expanding flat, right? Or running or expanding flat. So when you take that trade, you just put it to break even because this is not the trade you're going for. Just put it to break even and leave it. You're going for this for the bigger trade. And you wait. Now it could still go back up, right? And be an expanding flat. I doubt it is. I think we're going down totally. So we got that curve. We're coming down for this move, which means any flag you sell. Right? There are three possibilities here. That is this one, and this one. And this one was one. So we negate the first one. The first one is already out. Right? I would say, well, most likely. This one is already out. Right? We're looking at it that way, go back up and then come, right? So that's gone. The next one is probably this. But I think this actually fits perfect into this setup. So this one would be out most likely. The next one is this one. So that is this one here. We still have a lot to go. If you get a flag, sell, get a flag, sell. When it comes here, we'll see what happens. From there, it's either going to make a correction and drop, or it's going to go back up and then drop. It wouldn't bother us. We'll decide which one and then we'll take the trade. So right now, any flag you get, sell. Cat Swiss. Oh, there's a sell setup. Don't sell it. We discussed this morning and oh no, sorry, wrong one. This one you can sell. This is a good sell. Cat setup, good sell. That sell was good. This sell is good. We're coming in. There's one of the charts that has a short move only, and there's a sell setup that we didn't take. This is a good sell setup forming, and that's a nice flat because this one is actually coming all the way to the bottom. You definitely want that trade. And the flat is a perfect one almost. You can't ask for a better one. Put an entry here, put a stop above here, and go for that trade. Swiss yen. It's coming down. It's not making this one. It's not making this running flat as we thought it possible. Could come here and then go back up one and then drop. It's actually dropping. So there will be a flat here. This would probably pull back a little. Make a small running flat here and drop like this. You just ignore the trade because you'll have to sell here. You'll have to put a stop here. And this is all you can get. It's not worth it. Risk to reward in trade now. Let it go to the bottom. And when it starts to, if and when it starts to go back up, we'll buy. So I think you just ignore that sell for now. And this one. Okay, this is the aggressive trade for traders who We're here in this yesterday. This entry order should come off. If you're in it, take it off. That entry order was if this move here, this low would do that, right? It has nothing to do with what it's doing here. What it's doing here now is making a flat. So we broke out of this structure that we had and we were making a flat here. Literally making a flat inside here. And that flat is a sell setup. That flat means this could drop one more like that. So if it comes down here, make a flag, we'll sell it. I'd wait for it to come down, make a flag and go for the sell. There's a line there. It means we're trying to get to that line. Why? Let's see. We're trying to break that line actually. All right, we're coming to break this low. So this sell setup here is a very good one. This little sell setup might be the one that drops, break the low, and then go back up. If this is a flat. If that is not a flat, and this is just a deep correction into that impulse, then we will just keep going. Go for the sell. It is a sell setup, and it's an active sell. You can either put the sell under the low or wait for a flag. You put it under this low, but that low is too far, so I say wait for a flag and this going down. Natural gas. Okay, we didn't break the top. We're actually coming down. So this one would be out. It would be this one. The one we initially had, that is this. That turns out to be the top, and this is coming down. Any flag you get sell. There's a sharp pullback here. We could get that, and that would be a nice running flat for a sell. But if it just makes a flag, sell it. Makes a flag here in the 1 hour, sell it. US oil. That was a nice sell setup if anybody took it. Wait for another sell setup, go with it. See, this is a trade. Yesterday, you were in the trading when it was correct. I said, put an entry there, put a stop here, go for this trade. The trade is still valid. It still has more downside, right? So it could still come more. Watch it when it comes a little lower. And if you see like it's turning, take it off, go for the buy. Most likely we could drop through this bottom here. US 30. Okay, this didn't go up. It actually came down one more. So I don't know. Do we pull it to this point and still expect this to happen because we haven't got it? So I still think it's going to happen. I still think this has to happen. So let's look at it in the 1 hour now. See. Okay, this turned out to be more of a correction. There's a small flag here, and now we're going up. We still have a buy setup, so you can actually put a buy setup here. Here's where you're going to be. You're going to be cautious with this trade. Remember, we bought this one. And when it did this and go, put that to break even. If you close it, if you took break even, then that's okay. We're looking for the bigger trade up. So we take this and repeat the same process with that one. Let's see how this goes. Okay, we had an entry order to buy here. We can bring that entry order to this point. Right? Because this one is not relevant anymore. But this looks relevant. This up move here looks really good. Take this out from here. This was the first buy on this one. Take that out. You got this entry. And this could come and break this top or even go higher. So let's see. I like the entry for the buy. Also buy setup. Only this time I'll keep it above the top. So let's see. One more trade here is a good idea. Keep it above the top. Let's go. Tesla. Okay, nothing much here. Just leave it. It kind of go take off the trade if you're in it. It's not going anywhere. Wait for another setup. Buy it. This one, this didn't go that high. This was a sell setup yesterday. It didn't go there, so it's still coming down. Sell. If every sell you get sell. Put it like this now. And we still have a sharp wave here. Can we look for a possible running flat with something in here? I think that might be an option. If you get another flag here, sell, put an entry to sell. That looks like a small expanding flat. So if it drops, take the trade. And yes, it can drop. So we're at the top of this. See? So this can drop. You got to sell, so go with it. Okay, this came back to the low, take that off. It didn't trigger. Instead of going up, it came down. Expect a flat. Expect this to go back up. This one to go back up here, make a flat, and then drop. That's what we should look for, right? Short-term buys, if you want, if you can trade within that range, is a good idea. FR40, yeah, pretty much it should come. We're waiting for a turning point. Ignore the sell. It made a new low. We look for the buy. It just made a new low there. See, if you take this off, look for buy setups. Nifty, still consolidating. So wait for this to finish and then go for the sell. Bitcoin, we're about to finish. So some more patience. Like I said, when Bitcoin broke that top, the higher probabilities is going to drop. See? So you were there yesterday and I said, unless this thing makes a really good flag here, don't try to buy it, because once we break that top, the chances they're going to come back to retest this low. But this looks like a flat. So if you get a flag here, there's a sell setup to retest the low. Once it breaks this low, now then is when we're going to look at this as an impulse, a correction, and an impulse. And now that could be upside. See the difference? Now this could go, just break this low here and then take off like a rocket. It could also drop to the bottom. So you have two options open to you here now. This could come. You should, if you can sell, you would probably go for this sell and watch it when it breaks this low. Because when you break this low, it will either continue to go, break this low and then go back up, or it just breaks this low and then do this. And this is a perfect flag here for upside. This would be your first move up. This would be the correction, and that would be the next big move up. And that big move up is in play. So you get a flag there for a sell, go for the trade. Short-term sell, you're getting a flag here for a sell. That's a perfect take off the buy, go for the sell now. It might consolidate more, and then you go for a sell, take off this one. And then we'll see how far that goes. See this one here? This one dropped nice. So I don't know if this doesn't drop through the bottom. We were expecting them to drop through the bottom. ETH, yep. 1, 2, 3. Yesterday we assumed that this could have been a sell. This would be a sell here. Wait for this to actually consolidate and drop. Break the lows, and when it breaks the low where we expect it to go, somewhere here and then upside. Pretty much we have the pattern already set. Right? We expect this to come here, and then you're going to look for an upside like this, and then you might even come back down and then go. So if you can get a sell set up to here and then look for a buy. Pretty simple. XRP, it's coming down. That is a sell. That's a valid sell you can take. If you took the sell, give it some. If it doesn't go right now, well, it's already you should have to exit the trade. If you take the sell, close it, put an entry under the low. Wait for this to go back up. Wait for this to go back up here and then put an entry under the low here. If it should drop, you stay with the trade. If it's going to go back up, but if this is a 1, 2, 3, if this here, sorry, I lost my thing drawing tool. Give me a second here. Yep. If this is a 1, 2, 3, they'll go back up like that. So you don't need the buy, but you need the sell. Let's see. Aussie. There's Aussie. ADA. Sorry. I think the webinar is too long. ADA is going up, and you know what? It might as well come back and retest this top. So if you get a flag here, that becomes a good buy setup. If it makes a flag here, that will confirm the upside, because this was the low. They don't necessarily need to go any lower. You're going to look at it like this. This just turned out to be a big flat at the bottom here. And if you get a flag here, that just keeps going. So the trade might not be a bad trade. Get all the way to the top here, break the top, and then we'll see if it goes down back. PNB, ignore this. This is going to drop. It will drop, go back up. It's going to drop here. Go back up like this, complete this as a flat. Go down back like this, go back up like that, drop again, make a new low, and then upside. See, once the flat is confirmed, it's going to go up. Dash, going down. It broke the top and it's going down. That's expected. We planned that we forecast that a long time ago. Dash, sorry, that was dash. Dash is still looking upside, but not. This is a correction for the upside. AVA, Yep, we'll make a new low. Most likely you get a flag here, you make a new low, and then you'll go. So you wait until take off this. Wait until it makes the new low. Take out. If you had an entry order there that was a buy, close it. So, okay, this one went nice, and it's still going. It's going to get to the top there. It's making a flag. You can get another buy. Right? It makes a correction here. It gives you another buy to break this top. That's a trade. Link. We're still in this thing and no confirmation of anything. If it makes a nice flag or so here, then we'll sell. I'll go. Looks, it's going up a little. It came to the top, so it's not going to go very far. We should expect it to come down now. Yeah, I think they're starting to downside already. And Gala, I think somebody was asking for this when they came in. It's going up, and you have a nice running flat for upside here. So you can wait for a flag here and buy. This one went up flat. This one went up flat. This could go up. So look for upside. We have it as going up big time, actually. My traders are in this one, and they're hoping for this big trade to happen because it looks like it will. That is this one going up. There were consolidations at the bottom here. And if you look at this, see all of that shows slow it is going up. If you're going to 4-0, that'd be huge consolidations. Come here, see? That wasn't the fastest move up when it started. It started really slow. These are 4-hour flats. See, this is a 4-hour flat here. This is a 4-hour correction here, and this is a 4-hour flat there. All of that before you get that takeoff. So if you come back here and you look at this piece, you're going to get the same thing. You get a 4-hour flat here. You're getting a 4-hour running flat here. A small running flat here. Which means if you get a 1-hour flag, take the trade to the upside. That's it. So let me stop the, oh, we're not recording that. We're still live, so I can take some questions. Let's do it this way. I'll take some questions. My traders, tell me if there's any active trade you need me to look at. Let's look at them. Euro is going up, Pound is going up, Aussie going up. Watch your flags, right? Keep your eyes out for those flags. I think gold and silver will be the same. Keep your eyes out for the flags and we will get them, right? Don't miss them. Let's see, any questions? YouTube traders, any questions? Do you look at fair value gaps, order blocks? No, I don't look at all of that. That's how to put it. You ever went to a magic show? You know when the magician wants to distract you? All those are distractions. Gaps and fair. Anybody know what a gap is? I see a lot of gurus out there talking about gaps and they have no idea what a gap is. The entire charts are full of gaps. The only reason you don't see the gaps is because you're drawing a line connecting the dots. Take this out and let me show you what a chart should actually look like. This is an axis and this is an axis. So in this case, this is an axis and this is an axis. Let's put it that way. This is one axis and this is one axis. You went to school where they plot charts. So this is how you plot charts. There is a price. Somebody bought a certain amount of lots at this price. You plot it. At this time, at this price, you plot that. And then somebody does the same thing here. So you plot another one, and then you plot another one, and then 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 another one, then. This is people buying. These are orders being filled. Let's assume that these are individual orders that have been filled. What we do is we design it. We take candlesticks and connect them like this. We connect them with candlesticks like this. You can connect them with whatever you want, but we connect them. We connect the dots of the orders that were plotted and being filled on a chart, on a graph. There is no arrow there. There is no kangaroo tail. There is no pin bar. There is no gaps, or there are all gaps because a price action at a given time is a dot. It's not a line, it's a dot. So between this order and this order, there is a gap, but we fill it with a candlestick. You know, when you get a sharp movement like that, what happens? It means between here and here in a split second, there was no trade. There was an order that was filled here and there's an order that is being filled here. So do you want to trade gaps? Any guru who is talking about gap, hey, there was a gap. You know why you see it as a gap? Because at the time that your broker, at the time that the price moved from this point to this point, your broker was asleep. He was closed. So when he wake up, he started putting candlesticks. The candlestick went up like that, and he wasn't here when that happened. So he has a gap in his chart. The gaps on different charts are sometimes different because the market was closed for the brokers, but not for the market itself. There were transactions that were being filled. So when the broker opens, he starts from the point of where he got his first order filled on his chart. And that's a gap. It means that the price, the last price anybody traded it was here, and the next price they traded it was here. If your broker was working actively at the time of the day, you will see a movement like this, colored bright red for you. If you like to color them red, you could color them green if you want. You could color them blue if you want. You could don't color them. You could just draw a line, or you could do nothing. Understand that the chart is a statistics collection of price, of transactions that happen at a given time. That's what you're trading. You're actually using statistics to trade. And there is no, in the stats that you're using to trade, there is no gap, there is no moving average, there is no blocks order, there is no support and resistance, there is no bullshit. All you have to understand is how the price are moving. Now, a lot of things will help you to understand how the price are moving. If you think moving average is one of them, then you're saying when it comes to this moving average is going to turn. That's nonsense. But if that works for you, then great. But it's nonsense. What we are saying is while these orders are being filled, while the orders are being filled, 1 million orders filled in this space, it creates a specific pattern. And the way we see how the orders are being filled in this range, if you want to call it a range, what we look for is what happens before that range got filled. What if there was a movement that came into the range like this? So they were filling here, and then there was a very fast movement, or a gap, if you want to call it. And then we said, oh, what are the chances of this happening? See? So what we're using is we're using the stats and the way the orders are filled in the stats to say, is there a specific pattern created there? Because when we see specific patterns, we see them repeat themselves, which means whatever they were doing here, they're doing this because they would like the price to come here. If for whatever reason we see what they were doing here is looking downwards, then we would say, okay, based on this pattern, whatever they're doing here, they would like the price to come here. Now give me confirmation and I'll be in the trade. So I want you to put this pattern in your head, like literally visualize it. Keep that as an image in your head. I'll stop it and I'll come to the pound card. Pound card. And now I'll go to the 1 hour, and I want you to see the image that I just showed you. Let's go to the 15 minutes and look at the image that I just showed you. What if it comes like this and all the orders will start being filled in here, like 1 million orders just got filled here in this range? All the orders are being filled in this range. Whether you think there's a support and resistance there, whether you think there's a moving average there, whether you think there's an Ichimoku cloud there, whether you think there's a kangaroo tail there, whether you think there's a bat, rat, cat, or dog there, that's your imagination. You can imagine whatever you want. Everybody has good imagination. All you have to know for sure is that price is being traded in this range. And at some point in time, it is going to leave that range. It is either going to go up or it is going to go down. At some point in time, it is going to leave this range and go up or go down. Now, if you're good at wave analysis and you're good at understanding I like to call them precision patterns, patterns that are precise, you know what they can do, you know how they behave. Then you will say, oh, I like that trade. Or I even like this trade because this was consolidating here and I like that trade. But guess what happened when it came here? It did break it up, but it didn't go. And this is where trade management comes in. One of the things I started on 3 years back, a few people are already talking about trade management. That is something no trader has ever talked about in the history of trading. trade management, because that is what will make retail traders successful. I'm not talking about investors, I'm talking about retail traders. If you have good trade management, if you have good strategies, and if you have a great understanding of how the charts behave, you're going to be successful. Otherwise, you can look for bat, rat, cats, and dog and gaps and all of that in the chart, because those are people who are talking. They see things and they visually think, oh, I see a gap, I'm going to trade the gap. Yeah, maybe it will go your direction when you trade the gap. Maybe it will not go. That is irrelevant. You know, we can flip a coin now. And we can, if the coin is a head, we are going to buy this. And if it's a tail, we're going to sell it. And we still have a 50% chance of being correct, right? There is a 50% chance of being correct. The problem is that is not a winning strategy. In the long term of trading, that's not a winning strategy. Nobody flips a coin and win. That's more of a luck than a strategy. A strategy has to be built on rules, and that is why we have rules for everything we do. When you close the trade, what strategy you're going to use for this setup? How are you going to take the trade? If you take it here, how do you manage it? Where do you exit should it not go your way? How do you exit? All of that things. If you focus on those things, then you stop focusing on the magician showing you, hey, there's a block order here. So yeah, there is always block order. At any given point in this chart, there is a block order. You know what a block order means? Literally, it means they like to call it block basket or whatever, where the liquidity providers are putting orders. I can guarantee you that this entire price that you have here, liquidity providers have orders waiting. Of this price here, they will tell you where they would like to take trades above and where they would like to take trades below. And that is always going to happen. That's always a moving thing. So it's not a tradable thing for you. People do all kinds of fiction when they want to, distract you. Like literally, I remember the guy selling kangaroo tail. Like literally, his strategy is based on kangaroo tail. When I was just learning the trade. And I actually went in that webinar because I was so thinking, wow, kangaroo tail. What the hell is a kangaroo tail in the chart? Let me go check that webinar. And you know what he called a kangaroo tail? It was a pin bar. He had the pin bar and he said, when you have a long pin bar like this, the kangaroo tail, and this is what I do. And as he's talking, I'm going back on the same charts and I'm finding all the kangaroo tails that didn't work the way he said it's going to work. Like he's showing one specific one that worked perfect. And I'm sitting in the webinar, scanning the same charts backwards, finding all the pin bars, not specific ones he's showing you like a magician, but all of them. And I'm like, okay, this one didn't work, this one didn't work, this one didn't work, this one didn't work. Why is he skipping all of those and he's showing the one or two that worked? That's the thing of magicians. They pick specific piece and show you, hey, look here, don't look that side, look here. Keep looking. Well, we don't do that. We're showing, I'm going to the charts up, down, 4 hour, 1 hour, 50 minutes, showing you what I see and show you what I think is going to do and tell you if it doesn't do the whole, we're going to do with it like this one and all of that, right? Because we're looking at specific way the orders are being filled. See, like I said, this morning we bought this, we closed it. We closed this trade, we bought and closed it because I didn't like the way they're going. This one is looking. And the same thing with the Euro CAD, right? I'm showing you this because these have classical patterns. There are a lot of them with different patterns, but these are classical patterns. So, I mean, I'm not going to even show you the complex one because that's a whole 6 weeks course for you. Nice way of putting over my course, right? So you see, it came back to the top. And that's what we were expecting. Now this entry order is gone. You can't put that entry order there anymore. It's not valid. What is going to be valid now is this coming back here and then taking off as a simple flat. Or coming back like this and going back up and coming like this and going back up and coming like this and then take off. That is the most likely scenario. Stay with us for a week and let's see which one develops and you'll see how we trade it and how we manage it and how we understand what it's doing. Do I think this is going to take off? A slight possibility if you put this as an expanding flat. So what would be the setup for me to take it? I will wait for this to actually make a flag above the top here, confirm that, okay, they're not going down, and then I'll be in that trade. See how easy it is? It's absolutely easy when you know what you're doing, when you know what to look for, when you have the knowledge of what to do, when to do, right? But if you don't, it's like taking you and putting into, you're not a pilot, and if somebody take you and put you into the cockpit and said, okay, you're going to fly the plane, I think that's an impossible task for you, right? You don't even have an idea what to do. But if they trained you first and then put you in it, I think that's an easy job, right? There's a lot of pilots do that job every day, day in, day out. And it's not a difficult job for them. They do it. It's just a job. It's something they know because they're equipped with the necessary knowledge to make it happen. And that's what we're trying to get here. Give you the knowledge to understand how the charts behave so that when you look at it, you start seeing the patterns. And then you don't look for bats, cats, and rats. You just look for the patterns that are of some value to your trading. Very simple. Right? Nice question. I hope the answer was not too long. Let's go. Let's go. Is it one more look at gold? Okay, somebody wanted gold. Somebody wanted, what is that? APT USDT. We don't have the time for extra charts. Come this afternoon, we'll look at them. Deep correction signal for reversal already on the Bitcoin. Okay, let me look at Bitcoin quick for that reversal one. Thank you for that update. No, we're looking at this for the sell. I'm not sure where you want. You mean this one here for the, no, that's not a reversal, that's a continuation. That's a continuation of the bigger pattern, right? We're looking at this to come down, right? We're looking for this to come back to the bottom. So this is coming from here. That's a continuation. When you said reversal, I thought this one got to the top. My thought process when you said reversal is this one is at the top here. We're going to get a flat here, and then we're going to continue to reverse, which means go up in the bigger picture. Right now, I think they should come back to the bottom here, and then we'll look for this. Let's see how it behaves. I mean, you're here. We will the whole week we have ahead of us. Nice question, by the way. I like the questions that are coming up. Gold, let's take a look at gold, and then we will call it a day. I want to see if any trade is active. Gold is coming up, so wait. Those of you who are in the gold trade, remember we took this in the Asian session. By the way, my traders, how many of you in the gold? From the Asian session, there are a couple of you there. Ovidu is in, that's good. Nobody else took it? Come on, you're like, okay, Igor, Victor, okay, great. So a couple of you took it, that's great. So this one, we knew what we're doing. See, pretty easy. So let's go, let's see what happens to this. The worst case here is break even. I already can tell you, I even right? Worst case is break even, we're good. All right, so okay, guys, I would see all of you. Thank you for coming. Let's see everybody this afternoon. Don't forget to bring your friend if he's a trader, especially if he doesn't like wave analysis. Bring him, let's have some fun because trading can be boring. All right, I like the questions. Don't worry. As long as it's a question and based on knowledge, bring it on. We'll deal with it. All right, if it's a question that based on, we'll still answer. We'll try my best. So thank you for coming. Share the videos, rewatch the ones you haven't seen, and I will see all of you this afternoon. Take care. Thank you. Bye.